3 quarter of Australia. No. About 5 million of Australia got my name. All drinks are pretty common name. All over to it. Especially in the door. Especially in Greece. Especially in Tanzania.
Our name's also popular in Armenia.
How much can
What do you say? If I go to Armenia, I'll find the fella there.
No, our last name's actually changed. My grandfather changed it. Our surname is our surname is Kunaka. Well, French to Greek. Hey, ball! Hey!
What do I call it?
Playing volleyball.
All them fucking is right in front of there. What do I mean? I hate when it's on it. It happens on the center, and I move the line. It's right in front of me. My singing good meaning. Singing good meaning or nothing.
Humpy, Molly. Got him, Molly. Good boy, Ollie.
I know, bro. If the ball was closer to that guy, I'll say okay.
Hey! Good boy out. Go Rangers!
Okay. Test. 1-2. 1-2. Poppendetta Park. Mount Druitt Town Rangers v Sydney United. Round 28. NPL New South Wales action. Looking forward to this game, even if the sun is tearing a hole in my retinas at the moment because of the glare. All good?
Good boy, Joe.
Çocuğa süre vermediler. İkisi de kendine bakıyorlar. Adamlar işte.
Time check. On your shoulder. Get there, buddy. Yes, hey! What a free kick, ref.
No, you can hear it from me. You can on left. You can hear it? No, you can hear it. Not hunting the ball is very good.
They don't support.
Very, very good.
What is your what's the other?
We're on board.
The guys are bringing as well. Do that.
Ne diyor bu şimdi? Köy mü dalıyor bu şimdi? Ne yapıyor şimdi bu? Kafa kanat şey. O zaman şimdi Portekiz'de en sayı arası. Burası kışla tam yanımıza mikrofon olmuşlar. Oğlum sen de gel bana
Hem bağıra olsa tutuyor.
mikrofonu bana doğrulttu. Dayanın mikrofonu.
Erkan adam bir geldiğinde kardeşi adam bize mikrofon böyle.
Sen şikayet geliyor. Senin yüzünden mikrofon var.
Adamdan garip sarmaktan da böyle şey var.
Just getting blamed for everything. No. He's only one. Ozzy, git Can abiyle konuş. Can abiyle. Ask him if he's coaching next week. Abi, can you let me know if he's coaching next week?
I would, but I think
Yes. It's not like he's doing it.
Ama tabii ben...
Roddy, what's your predictions? I'm saying 2-2.
I'm saying 3-0 Rangers. I'm in the car, I'm just saying that way.
I'm saying 3-2 Rangers. If Rangers play the way they play,
Bence United can't keep up with their work rate.
Bizim ilk altı sayısı Yunan'da klima.
Gidiyor lan, gidiyor da iyi.
Ah, doğru diyorsun bro.
Bizimkiler koşuyor bro, kendi kendine. I'm gonna get that.
Could we please have all the mascots and the ball boys to the tunnel, please? Thank you.
what's coming to me. That was coming. The last two.
Lift it up. Can you stop thinking about that? I wonder what it is. Like what? Just let it. That's not as I said. That's weird. That's my boy, Matt. Just now.
Yeah, that's what you want, right?
Bunlar sahneye kelle paçoyla ise acılı. Limonlar. Kelle. Yok. Championship should be this year, right? I can't say enough of it. Thought there would have been more people here. I thought we're up there. We're enough, mate. We're enough, mate. We're enough to cause a scene.
Can't believe it. She called me twice. Two separate occasions. Your family, Gav, make me look bad.
My family.
I lose a 15. You got John feeling bad for screaming out. Like, every time he screams, I'm on the screen. He's over there. He's over there.
But you know what? I'm down on the other side of the ball.
I don't want to ruin it from you either. If I come in, I'm not the shit bag that just follows me around. What I want to do.
We didn't quite get it today.
Yeah, it was very, very flat day today.
Very good football side. We'll come back.
A few more times you beat 16, you'd be alright.
Vive is out for what? 6 to 10 weeks because of the 16.
6 to 10 weeks, that's a bit weird.
Yeah.
NCL, is that the other side? ACL?
The NPL holds it all together.
So is it worse than the ACL? No. Okay. Yeah, ACL's the ultimate.
That's the one you want to
Yeah. He doesn't need to do it. I was looking at him looking.
we're just going to take it to the car.
What's the game time like that? Rob?
Sorry, mate, you told you want my jumper.
I'm just saying.
I'll give it to you. You look cold.
I'm going to come back to Speedos.
As you get older, you get more senile. You don't know if it's cold or hot.
Look at him.
You seen that say you should get to another
For a few weeks.
Well, show me the way to Mount Druitt Town, because it is here at Popondetta Park where the pointy end of the season pushes on with a must-win matchup between two sides in different sections of the NPL New South Wales table. It's 15th place Mount Druitt Town Rangers hosting Sydney United in 6th. A massive matchup, two sides in desperate need of points for very different reasons. For the Town Rangers, the home side, it is to keep up their impressive fight in the relegation race and continue what has been the Ben Rollison revolution. They are just laying claim to one defeat, 2 wins and 2 draws in 5 games under their new management, and are making a great fist of avoiding the drop, and can do so with a positive result tonight in what is a very competitive race to avoid either the drop or a pro-rel playoff at the bottom end of the table. And they did themselves no shortage of favours last week with an impressive 3-1 win here at home against the Wollongong Wolves. A result that also did no shortage of favours to today's opponents. Sydney United currently clinging on to 6th place with the likes of Wollongong, Sydney Olympic and St George City all hoping to take that final postseason place off them in the handful of rounds that remain. 3 to be exact. Well, 2 after this one. 3 tonight for both of these sides. And there are just 4 points separating 6th place Sydney United from 9th place St George. So it is a tight old affair. But they did ensure with a midweek win against Blacktown in the midst of a bevy of league and cup football for Ante Jurich's side that destiny remains in their own hands in the final hurdles. That was a massive win, and one that broke, in league play at least, a run of 7 games without a win. So a much needed result for Ante Jurich's side, and they'll look to build on that tonight, but it is not an easy task despite what the ladder might tell you, because anyone who has seen Mount Druitt in recent weeks under new management with their new signings knows that they will pose a very stern test to tonight's travelling United side. And much at stake for both teams in red and yellow this evening. It'll be Sydney United to kick us off in a massive Saturday night fixture at Popondetta Park. Big twists potentially to come in both the relegation battle and the top 6 race. What sort of twists will we get tonight? Well, we're going to find out over the course of the next 90 minutes, but it is a 90 minutes that is just taking its time to get underway here. Danny Horsted, the referee, not liking the look of the net on the left-hand side of your picture. You can see he's in consultation with veteran Janjetovic, or has just marched across out of frame to go and check that net with veteran Janjetovic. It is sagging a fraction, the upper netting along the crossbar, and there are a couple of tiny holes there potentially. Not sure what, if anything, will be able to be done about it, but play is going to, I say, continue to be halted. It hasn't actually started, but the commencement of play is going to have to remain on pause for the moment, as this net issue gets a seeing to. Give us time enough as someone from the Mount Druitt bench marches across to do what will look to be a bit of a tape job. Gives us time enough to go through the starting lineups for both of these sides as well. The hosts, Mount Druitt, after that 3-1 win at home to the Wollongong Wolves, just their second home win of season 2025. Make a solitary change, and it is enforced by disciplinary reasons. Rocco Pele picking up his 5th yellow card in that win against the Wolves. So in comes Alex Trajanowski to join the starting lineup. He slots in to a back 4 alongside the likes of Shaden Sampao, Tef, Bilal Belcardi and Danilo Montero. Of course, Dylan Niski, the captain, in between the goals. Further afield, Massarola, Jared, that is, Caleb Jackson-Brown and Yuta Morita make up the midfield 3. Further afield, Yuta Kumura is in very good goal-scoring form since signing in mid-season. He slots alongside Stephen Stanich-Floody and Abraham Majok, who scored his first Mount Druitt goal in nearly 8 years. Well, I think a little over 8 years, in fact. Last week, here at Popondetta Park, a happy homecoming for the man who has been well-travelled since developing here in Sydney's West, of course playing at A-League level with the Wanderers. Going to play in Cyprus, South Africa, and scoring against Sydney United for Sydney Olympic last season. For Sydney United, a couple of changes from that midweek victory against Blacktown. So it looks as though we are about to get underway. Carlos de Oliveira and Anthony Tomilich coming in. And perfect reinforcements for a massive game tonight. Sydney United looking to keep their top 6 destiny in their own hands. Mount Druitt on the hunt for more points in the relegation race as we are finally underway at Popondetta Park. Sydney United heading long from the off, and it's a first touch for the only entrant into the starting 11 in Alex Trajanowski. Marco Aaron Basic leading the line again tonight, going down under the challenge of a now Druitt marker. Sydney United happy to take it swiftly. Out wide it goes to Bailey Rule. And Milicevic picking a delicate pass for De Oliveira. Aaron Basic trying to return the favour, but doing so forlornly. Forward it goes for Yuto Morita, who bagged his first Mount Druitt goal last week, the opening scorer against the Wollongong Wolves. So finally taken finish, flashed across the face of the goal. Daniel Solski left with little to do. Kimura back to Montero. It is a Mount Druitt 11 that is nigh on unrecognisable from the side that took to the field when these two last met back in round 13. As Stephen Stanic-Floody gets on the march, gets around his marker, but can only put his effort into the arms of Vedran Janjetovic. Much has been made of Mount Druitt's flurry of signings in the mid-season window. No less than 7 players coming in the door, and many of them so far have proven to be very shrewd acquisitions. The likes of Yuta Kimura, Yuto Morita, Stephen Stanic-Floody, Abraham Majok, all contributing with goals and assists already. Quite as many reinforcements for Sydney United, but they have had important ones. Vedran Janjetovic, who made that save earlier, one of those. Marco Aaron Basic, of course, leading the line as well. Certainly this is not a fixture that Sydney United, even playing off the short turnaround, will be taking lightly. You would have seen what Mount Druitt did to a Wolves outfit that were previously in pretty fine form and hot on the heels of United for 6th spot. And in the end, comes to nothing. Anthony Tomilich to Michael Glassick. The sun is just starting to make its dip behind the trees over in the background, so sweet relief for those of you who are catching a bit of glare at home, as it's hopefully prodded forward by Jackson Brown. Kimura giving chase, and it's an up and under from Vedran Janjetovic. Milicevic can only muster a half-hearted up and under ball. Mount Druitt with plenty of zip. Jackson Brown towards Majok. And there was a bit of a tangle at the top of the penalty area, and a poor pass affords it back to Mount Druitt. Plenty of energy in this game so far. Chabot turned into trouble. Majok came in, and somehow Chabot ends up with the football back at his feet. Lovely footwork from the Sydney United midfielder. Eventually loses out to Yellow shirts in his way. Bailey rule. Milicevic, plenty of zip in this one in the early knockings. Aaron Basic breaks for Milicevic. Got it through the legs of Tef, but providing reinforcement well was Trajanowski. Classic. De Oliveira couldn't make the 1-2 work, and Bilcardi was able to intercept. Now Yuto Morita marches forward and angles a ball for Abraham Majok. Well read, though, by Michael Glasick. It will be quite the matchup this evening. Abraham Majok against the likes of Michael Glasick and Adrian Vlastelica. Formed a very solid defensive partnership under Ante Juric. Glasick, of course, in his first season at the club, reuniting with Ante Juric, having won a premiership at Sydney Olympic a few years back, as Chabot gets on the move, distributes to Wells. Back to Chabot, but it's not quite lifted off the ground in the way that he would have liked. Majok in the opposite direction. McGing trying to shield the ball out of play and does so very well. He's the experienced defender. There's been plenty of freneticism about this contest. Much in the way of attacking chances as yet. Feel as though that energy, while a good thing, is maybe leading to a few stray passes, a few players trying to do things too quickly. And there is case in point as there's a long attempt from Aaron Basic. Well wide of Dylan Niski's goal. A man in Dylan Niski who would be wise to the threat that Marco Aaron Basic does provide. It's been a while since his last goal. He might be able to change that here. Nice chop by Aaron Basic. Milicevic, side foot and bending away from goal. Niski dove, but only for insurance. As always, bending away from the frame. Druitt just caught in possession there, given a bit of a reprieve by the profligacy of Aiden Milicevic. I mentioned that Marco Aaron Basic is still waiting for the first goal in Sydney United colours since returning from NWS Spirit. His last goal in this competition, back in Spirit colours, was against guess who? Mount Druitt. Breaking nicely here. The flag does eventually come up, much to the chagrin of the Japanese midfielder Yuto Morita. Really, evidence is that this could well be a game decided on the counter-attack. Chabot found it a little half space nicely. Milicevic turning with intent and receiving again from Rule. That was great movement from Sydney United, but again comes to naught. They'll try again through De Oliveira. Turned into traffic. When they get those combinations working, Sydney United, they can look so impressive in possession. Wells driving in. Aaron Basic, the target, who just couldn't get a telling touch on the football. Still plenty of football to be played for Sydney United this season. Even if they don't make the finals of NPL New South Wales, they'll, of course, be off to the Australian Championship in October. One of the 8 foundation clubs, but Ante Juric will look back on this season. Successful debut season back at Sydney United, though it has been, in the Waratah Cup. He will lament the fact that those passing movements of quality, the link-up of which Sydney United are no doubt capable, has probably been too fleeting for his liking. The benefit of potentially finishing in finals and having something like the Australian Championship coming up is that there is still plenty of football left for them to play. Rule. Nice exchange with Chabot. Milicevic trying to touch it to his own advantage, but very wise to that danger was Stephen Stanic-Floody. Prodded it out for a United throw. May even be a United long throw. Bailey Rule looking for the tall timber of Aaron Basic, who flicks it on. De Oliveira with a swing and a miss. And Danilo Montero can clear lines for Mount Druitt. And Massarola picks up the free kick. Interestingly enough, despite the fact it is a Mount Druitt free kick, Mario Chabot is the player who has come off second best from the challenge. Someone that Juric would want to lose, and doesn't look like he's going to have to worry about that anytime soon. They found a great midfield balance as Ante Juric dropping Carlos de Oliveira into a deeper lying position, letting Chabot, the number 8, play as a 10, as this one breaks on the left-hand side of Sydney United's defence for Trajanowski, but only momentarily, and now it's coming the other way. Did the flag come up? No is the answer. Chabot on the march. Well marshalled by Tef, manhandled by Tef, and a free kick is coming the way of the visitors. It was absolutely the undersized dog in the fight there, Mario Chabot, but he may have lacked in physical stature. He made up for in smarts, just positioning his body nicely, and allowing for this set-piece opportunity for Ante Juric's men. De Oliveira's delivery. Vlasic was the target. It didn't reach him. Aaron Basic had a crack, and in doing so collected an opposition player. So Danny Horsted is going to take the air out of the balloon. That's Sydney United 4-8. A game that was breaking one way and then another in the opening 5 to 10 minutes. Sydney United have slowly taken a bit firmer a grip on the contest. Been a while since we've seen Mount Druitt build something in the opposite direction. This could be a chance to change that. Jackson Brown. Caleb Jackson Brown to Abraham Majok. Wants to switch the play, but Milicevic read that one all the way. Good defending by Abraham Majok. Marita collected from behind by Michael Glasic. Free kick on the way for Mount Druitt, who have, as we mentioned, pre-kickoff been so improved under their new head coach, Ben Rollison. They've only lost once, and that was here at home against Apia. 5 games of his tenure. Playing much better football as Belcardi looks to let fly, and it was a lot closer than perhaps Vedran Janjetovic gave it initial credit. The most powerfully hit shot, but didn't whistle its way past the right-hand side of the experienced Sydney United custodian's goal. That is a movement that is emblematic of how much better the football has been at Popondetta Park of late. Only 2 losses in their last 7 games. Nearly 2/3 of their points for the season have come under Ben Rollison as Milicevic gets on the march. Stephen Stanic-Floody able to come in and wrap his boot around that ball before it could go out for a Sydney United corner. Now, up on just about every possible metric you could hope a side in desperate need of points could hope to be up on. Small sample size, of course, but points per game has almost tripled, doubled the amount of goals they're scoring per game under Ben Rollison. And while they've only kept 1 clean sheet under his stewardship, the defence is certainly a lot tighter than it was before. Wells riding a challenge, finding a crossing angle. So that's a bounce by Stanic-Floody, who was caught in a bit of a Sydney United sandwich. And so out it goes for a United corner. Funnily enough, it is actually Sydney United who will be hoping that they can follow in the footsteps of Mount Druitt and refine their goal-scoring touch. It's been a bit barren in the league for them of late. This is a chance to change that. A decently shaped corner, but Niski confidently through the air to claim. Looking to set Yuto Morita on his way. He's been probably a bit more of a lone hand up top than Ben Rollison would have liked so far. Get a chance to launch onto this one. No is the answer. He's being left to do a lot of lonely work atop the formation so far. Japanese midfielder who's signed in mid-season, part of that transfer brigade from Malta. He's playing with Pieter Hotspur. And for a couple of clubs in that country where we've seen no shortage of NPL players play their trade over the years. It'll be his compatriot, Yuta Kimura. Set piece duties here. He scored a couple of goals. Can he provide one? It's a great ball forward and the header wide from Danilo Monteiro. There's been an opening of the account from the Portuguese defender. It was wonderfully shaped by his Japanese teammate. Nearly 2 of the mid-season signings combining for the opening goal of this game. Past the reach of Aaron Basic. A emphatic header from Tef. Jackson Brown's flick on. An effective one, but United cough up possession. Majock on the march. He was hauled back by De Oliveira. Danny Horsted, the referee, saw exactly what I fancy you would have at home. Pretty firm tug on the arm of Abraham Majock by Carlos De Oliveira. So Kimura has already offered plenty of promise with his previous free kick. Can he conjure up some more magic here? This one is longer and deeper and not nearly as impressive as the previous one. Easy pickings in the end for Vedran Janjetovic. Special couple of weeks where milestones are concerned. It would have been a great moment for him to play against one of his former A-League clubs in Sydney FC last week at Adenza Park in the Australia Cup round of 16. A fixture that he played in 10 years prior at the other end of his career for the other team. A full circle moment. De Oliveira towards Aaron Basic. Another fresh air swing, but he'll be able to pick up the pieces at the back post. McGing, Tomilic, a nice disguised pass. Aaron Basic cuts back. Matt Druitt basically stopped for the offside flag, and eventually Danny Horsted does draw play dead. It took its time, though, to end as the stoppage of play that Mount Druitt were so clearly desperate for. This game, of course, being played concurrently to another fixture that will be of quite significant interest to Sydney United. We're at Belmore, Sydney Olympic. Looked at one apiece in their derby clash with Rockdale Illingdon. Should that result hold, it would mean that any points, or any sort of a win, any points today would, at the very least, keep Sydney Olympic at bay for another week, but a win for United would extend their advantage, their insurance policy from the teams below them. 7th, 8th and 9th, all of those teams still within touching distance of pipping Sydney United to the post. And another of those teams is in action shortly as well. Wollongong welcoming the side in pole position for the premiership at the present moment, NWS Spirit, to their home turf. Got a break in play here at Popondetta Park to fetch a fresh ball. Flicked on nicely by Wells for Aaron Basic. So Oliveira robbed of it by Majock. It's Majock who came up with it momentarily. Wells wins it back, hits the deck with a serious thud. Play continues. Kimura, oh, well done by the Japanese attacker. Majock fighting against the weight of a lot of Sydney United numbers on that right flank. And he's still going to pick it up, drives the cross in, but just lacking a bit of purchase, and Glassick is able to deal with it rather comfortably. But it is yet another flash of quality from Yuta Kimura. Great first touch, nutmeg through his marker. And I fancy that those fans of Mount Druitt have become quite taken with him rather quickly. Scored the match winner his first few games against Sydney Olympic at Belmore. Second half equaliser a fortnight ago out at Blacktown. What was a thrilling 2-2 draw. He'll have to add to that tally with a first goal in front of his new home faithful. Lovely work by Milicevic. And shifted wide to Wells, who wants to find a teammate. He finds Milicevic, who couldn't restore it back to the number 23. And perhaps that's a chance for Mount Druitt to move in the opposite direction. Kimura. Pass back for Montero. And Basic not able to pick it off though, and Montero can keep it in his grasp. He's the other scorer from that draw against Blacktown. Tef. Launching long for Stanic Floody. Kimura. Retrieves his own ball once and then twice. Good turn by Marita. Left by Stanic Floody. It was clever play at the top of the penalty area, but well judged by Classic. It's been an interesting game so far. After a real breakneck opening 10, it's sort of becoming a bit of a pattern of, well, you have a turn with the ball, and then you have a turn with the ball, and they've both gone through longer stretches of possession without much in the way of attacking opportunity yet. Both do, though, have these flashes where they look so good when they're knocking the ball around. This another from Mount Druitt. Stanic Floody setting a task for Kimura. And latching onto it was the Japanese attacker. And it goes out for a corner. So a bit of intelligent football. It's a set piece for the hosts. It is quite remarkable about this rich run of form at the bottom end of the table that Mount Druitt find themselves in, is that often when you make such a bevy of signings in a short space of time, it can take a while for the team to gel. But already these players seem to have such a good understanding. As does Vedran Janjetovic in reading that one through the air, setting his relatively new teammates on their way. Booming switch in the nick of time. We were able to get a head in. Or rather, it was Rita, my apologies. Down was Carlos de Oliveira. Fairly simple decision for Danny Horsted. Fancy that the man who the free kick will take it, Carlos de Oliveira. And it comes from de Oliveira, repelled by the first line of Town Rangers defenders. Tomlich on the wing. A rare cross for him that's turned away. Only as far as Chabot. Lost out to the weight of numbers. Runs forward nicely to the feet of Kimura. Marita returning the favour. It's a lovely incisive pass. The loft forward setting a task for Marko Aaron Basic. Appreciates the idea even if it never reached the towering striker. Delicate lob from Chabot. Milicevic with a tight turn. The first time shot blocked en route by Montero. Off the boot of Bailey Rule.
told him that all the teachers like 90%, 95%. Yeah. He's not like other players, got two, like, he's just
It's a fixture that is traditionally has been lacking in goals over the journey, but hasn't seen a lot of them in the first half. It tends to, as you would expect, a fixture that involves Sydney United, leave a fair bit of its drama till late. Now Druitt looking to buck that trend here. It's out of play before Majok could make anything of it. And in the end, he's rather made a bit of a mess of it all, and a bit of a mess of himself here, because he's down in what looks to be fairly serious discomfort. Doesn't seem at a glance that Sydney United opponents, of course he's gone down right in front of their dugout, are quite as convinced, but this is not looking good from our vantage point. Chabot has gone in to make sure that Majok is okay. He just got caught in a tangle with Vlastelica, and the body of the big central defender landed on him, and you can't help but wonder if maybe that's shifted something in the knee, perhaps, that he would not want to have shifted. Play continues for the moment. Town Rangers remain with 10. Majok continuing to receive treatment. And Niski collecting. Not seeing any suggestion. Abraham Majok is going to be right to return here. Stay with play for the moment. Sydney United are moving the ball about with some serious zip. Rule. It's Oliveira. Some sharp stuff from Sydney United, but it's lacking an end product. Looks as though, unfortunately, he's going to spell an end to Abraham Majok's evening. Such a disappointment if that is the case, because he has looked so good since returning home to Popondetta Park. He's added a lot in that attack that has needed extra gears. Milicevic checking onto the left, looking to bend one. Oh, it's a fantastic save from Niski. We have said that plenty of times this season. Pouring that away at his near post. Milicevic looked to catch him out. The man who has made more saves than just about any other keeper in the competition this season. That's another to his tally. And we will have the corner halted so that Ben Rollison can make his substitution. Abraham Majok, his day comes to a very disappointing end, and we hope it is nothing too serious. As the corner comes in, it's well shaped and cleared by Tef. A wonderful left foot delivery, Wells. The right, not half bad either. The header at the back post, knocked down to Glasic. It's a real scramble, and Niski can't gather. It's in. Not the prettiest of goals by any stretch, but Sydney United won't be bothered by that one bit. A total mess in the Mount Druitt penalty area. But it is Sydney United who come up with the all-important opener. Niski had a couple of nibbles at it, but couldn't convincingly claim. And the bevy of red shirts on the goal line were eventually able to work it over. And that is insult to literal injury for the Town Rangers. It was Glassick who went down, and his effort dribbled towards the line. Mason Wells came in to fire it into the back of the net. Whether or not it was already over the goal line by that point, I think remains to be seen. But this business end of the campaign, with so much still at stake for both of these sides, you take them any way they arrive. And that will leave a seriously sore taste in the mouth of Mount Druitt head coach Ben Rollison. Just lost one of his key players in attack, and just when they need their attack to bring them back into the game, having just conceded from the corner right after making their substitution. Oh, and it's gotten a little ugly in the centre as well. Tomilic is one half of a seemingly quite incendiary altercation between he and Bilal Belkadi. Somewhere telling the Mount Druitt man to get up to his feet fairly swiftly. They sort of rolled into one another, Tomilic and Belkadi. Whether or not there was any strikes with the arm towards the faces of either player remains to be seen, but they just sort of rolled on top of one another, and neither particularly liked the attention they were getting from the other. So it's an interesting decision for Danny Horsted here. Does he give a cautionary card to both, or is it just a sanction for Tomilic? Tomilic has definitely gone into the book. Will Belkadi be accepting the same fate when he returns to his feet? I wonder. Maybe not. So Danny Horsted are judging Anthony Tomilic to be the guilty party on that occasion. So Mount Druitt earn themselves a free kick. Having just gone behind, if you missed it, after a scramble in the Mount Druitt penalty area. It's worked home by a combination of Michael Glassick and Mason Wells. Chabot, how did he keep the football there? Fantastic work from Sydney United's number 8. Now Wells is the man on the move. Early ball looking for Aaron Basic, knocked away by Caleb Jackson-Brown. It's been a feisty old affair, this one. No shortage of free kicks for both sides. Plentiful number of willing challengers. Snapped forward, Morita on running. Glassick got there and gets a touch in, concedes a corner, and he maybe wasn't expecting the pace of Yuto Morita there, or maybe even the physicality. I thought he had in his mind that he could just shield that one out of play, but Yuto Morita very much had other ideas. Just a confirmation that Thomas Lopez was the player who's come on for Abraham Majok, and it goes towards him, does this corner, but Janjetovic tried to clear, and I don't think that his opponent who got in the way knew too much about it. Tomilich. A little bit of Australian football history. The Australia Cup in recent weeks. He's now made more Australia Cup appearances than any other player for an NPL club. 17th Oz Cup appearance for Sydney United against Sydney FC. Played 18 times in the national rounds of this storied club, and he has only missed one of those fixtures. Absolute competitor, an absolute warrior of over 350 games. Anthony Tomilich. Thomas Lopez, a substitute. It's not quite the kind of impact that Ben Rollison would usually be hoping from the player off the pine, straight into the book. Have been rather impressive in recent weeks. Mount Druitt against the likes of Blacktown and Wollongong. They have been so far not necessarily by any stretch deserving to be a goal behind, a little bit short of the expectations set by performances in previous weeks. Can't afford too many passes like that. Wells might have come off to Oliveira, actually. A little friendly fire. Chabot. Milicevic. He's had plenty of the football in this game so far. Tricky back heel for Rule. Oh, Chabot. Well disguised pass. Rule on the run, driving to the byline, cutting it back, and Aaron Basic. Well, Mount Druitt thought that he got the final touch, but Danny Horsted and his officiating team believing otherwise, and of course their word is final. So Sydney United with another corner. We saw how much disruption and danger the previous corner created. It ultimately led to the opening goal. Mason Wells' left-footed deliveries are so venomous. This one not bad either. Flicked into a tantalising area, but launched clear by the Mount Druitt defence. Thomas Lopez and De Oliveira go toe-to-toe. De Oliveira was able to marshal it over the line. Minutes left to play in this first half. Sydney United set to head into the sheds in the ascendancy. Aaron Basic rides a challenge nicely, opens up an angle, but just isn't happening yet for Marco Aaron Basic, who puts in so much effort. Plays for the shirt, of course, who has previously been at the club at senior and junior level. Is that a legendary former player as Mount Druitt builds something beautifully here. Marina with the chip. Oh, it's a lovely finish, but the flag's up for offside. Mount Druitt denied what would have been a top-class equaliser. It was very close, though. It's the warning sign for Sydney United as they look to manage the rest of this first half. They have got the quality. Mount Druitt. That one picked off by Rule. It's taken off Wells just as easily as it was won. Teff. Slips at the heels of Carlos de Oliveira. It's a long switch, but no one home to receive it. But it's a bizarre one. Sydney United players thought that had taken a touch off Stephen Stanic Floody. And now the Town Rangers come the other way. Caleb Jackson-Brown. Inside nicely. Marita across for Trajanowski with a fair bit to aim at in the penalty area. Trajanowski cutting onto the left, slipping it in. Turned away by Sydney United's back four. End-to-end stuff to end the first half. Milicevic in a foot race with Montero. And the Portuguese defender up to the challenge that time around. Thomas Lopez. Wanderers youth. Just got stuck under the feet of Trajanowski. We've spoken a lot about what this game means for Sydney United in their quest to keep the Barbarians at the gate. The teams who want to pip them of the final postseason position. As we cannot understate how valuable the points on offer are tonight for Mount Druitt as well. Sitting in 15th on 21 points. So 2 points clear of Western United in the automatic, or Western Sydney Wanderers, my apologies, in the automatic relegation place, but 15th, well, it wouldn't be an automatic entry into League One. It would consign them to the Pro-Rel playoff. And you don't need to tell anyone at Mount Druitt the dangers that that particular fixture can pose. Fallen victim to it previously. Looking to gain ground on the likes of the Mariners and Sutherland in 13th and 13th respectively. Points tonight would help them do that. 3 points tonight could not just take them out of the relegation zone, but could take them a point clear of Sutherland in 13th. They could fly a few places up the table as it's bent in by Stanic Floody, but well judged by Vedran Janjetovic as the first half ends with Sydney United in the lead. An incident-filled first 45 comes to a close with a goal emblematic of the amount of physical mess and chaos that we've seen in this first half. Scramble in the penalty box from a Sydney United corner that saw the ball bundled over the line after touches from Michael Glassick and Mason Wells right on the goal line. Whether or not it is going down, and to be credited to the latter or the former, perhaps remains a decision for the referees. But despite the huff and puff of Mount Druitt and their flashes of quality, they find themselves in need of a second half turnaround if they are to grab any points in the relegation race. Right now, Sydney United in the ascendancy, keeping their destiny in their own hands in the battle for the top six, but you can imagine there are still a few more twists in the tail to come in the second 45 at Popondetta Park. Half-time score, Mount Druitt Town Rangers 0, Sydney United 1. We'll see you in 15 minutes for a massive second 45. .45 minutes to play at Popondetta Park. Still much to be played for in this round 28 clash between the Mount Druitt Town Rangers and Sydney United. It's the visitors in the ascendancy after 45 minutes played. An absolute mess of a goal, proving the difference around the 30-minute mark, which I'm going to tentatively credit to Mason Wells after he thumped it into the back of the net on the goal line after an effort from Michael Glassick. And while it is not one that is ever going to make its way into a footballing art gallery, it is a goal as good as gold dust for Sydney United as they look to grab back-to-back wins in their quest to end season 2025 in the final spot of 6th. With Sydney Olympic currently locked at 1-1 with Rockdale, it would mean they gain ground on at least one of the sides hoping to take that postseason position off them. But you can imagine that a stern challenge to their lead of this game will come in the second 45 from the Town Rangers. Of course, in desperate need of wins, but any kind of result will do on an evening like this as they look to steer clear of automatic relegation, rid themselves of a potential pro-rel playoff at season's end. And even a point salvage this evening would take them closer to realising those ambitions and put pressure on the likes of the Central Coast Mariners and Sutherland Sharks around them. No changes at the break for either side. There was, though, a change in the first half for Mount Druitt. They lost one of their star attackers in Abraham Majok to an injury minutes before that opening goal of the game. It's the frustration for Ben Rollison, who has managed to breathe new life into Mount Druitt's attack as head coach. Not been able to offer up too many chances. This is a trick play. To the top of the box it goes, and, well, it was a trick play so deceiving that it confused even the Sydney United players, because it comes to absolutely nothing on the edge of the penalty area. Janovic off his line, and we were really in danger here in the media box as Pedro Janovic sent that clearance sailing towards the media tower here at Popondetta Park. You're getting a great vantage point if you're watching on at home. You're finding it on the call for you. Conditions for football here in Sydney's west as well. No wind whatsoever. No rain on the way, and no temperature for the players out there as the man who replaced the injured Abraham Majok, Thomas Lopez, pokes it back to Jared Massarola. Massarola again. Delicate pass. Lopez lifts the ball in at the back post. Kimura was rising. To the byline, the cutback stabbed towards Morita and turned out for a Mount Druitt corner. So a bright start to this second 45 from the hosts, who already in recent weeks shown their propensity to come back from behind. Don't forget they were 1-0 down a fortnight ago against the team above Sydney United on the table, Blacktown, and were able to come back to claim a very serviceable 2-2 draw. It's a flat delivery. Montero keeps it alive. Was there a high boot? Yes, says Danny Horsted. Montero is best pleased about the reaction to the foul, which has sent Aiden Milicevic to the turf. No amount of protestation and remonstration is going to change the final outcome. Another member of that mid-season transfer army. And army is not necessarily an overstatement with the amount of signings they made. Danilo Montero returning back to Australia from his native Portugal, where he's played for a host of clubs in the lower tiers. Some defending to do here. Top of the box. It's the Oliveira. Like that one. Right to the advantage of any of his teammates.
Hello, everybody.
Trajanowski. And Sorolla. Great control by Thomas Lopez.
Oh, I know.
This is good play on the top of the Sydney United penalty area. It breaks for Jackson Brown, who tries to pick a delicate through pass for Uto Morita. Nothing doing that time around. That ends in the arms of Vedran Janjetovic. Over the top for Aaron Basic, who stayed on side, uses his body well. Did stay on side. The flag never came up, but Danny Horsted did whistle in favour of Mount Druitt. Looked from this vantage point as though Aaron Basic had done everything by the book there. Of course, Aaron Basic currently deputising for a man whose potential influence on this game looms very large in Patrick Antelmi on the bench, as that's whipped in by Trajanowski and side-footed clear by Vlastelica. Patrick Antelmi, of course, recently returned from his honeymoon in Europe. Great ball, Thomas Lopez just puts too much meat on the cross. It's all the way out for a throw in at the opposite end. Whenever he does arrive into this game, Patrick Antelmi, it will not be a sight that Druitt fans will be pleased to see, because the Star Sydney United strikers' goal scoring record against the Town Rangers is absolutely fearsome one. This will be pulled back for a free kick as Belcardi and Basic go body to body. He's a real tough nut, Bilal Belcardi. He scored his first NPL New South Wales goal in a long time against his former side, Wollongong Wolves, last week. He made the journey across from Cromer to Popondetta Park alongside Rocco Pele from Manly. Kimura, his deliveries tonight so far have been high ceiling and low floor. Wilson will be hoping for another that is closer to the top shelf this time around. Kimura's delivery, away by Vlastelica. The break potentially brewing here for Sydney United. Aaron Basic, the man on the move. he can find support in the form of Aiden Milicevic, whose switch to Wells was wonderful, but Niski judged it really nicely and sends it into the night sky. Race on between Lopez and Liam McGing. Lopez happy to let that one out for a throw for the home side. The other thing in Druitt's favour, who are a believer in the chance for history to repeat. Since Mount Druitt emerged in the NPL for the first time in 2019, only won this fixture 2 times, but the record in this fixture at Popondetta Park is very good. Sydney United, in fact, have never officially won a league game at this venue since that time. They did get a 5-0 victory here in March of 2020, but that was one of the games and results that was ultimately voided by the pandemic and washed away when the 11-game mini-season came back later in that year. Sydney United went on to end the year as champions despite losing 4-3 here at Popondetta Park. Wells, Aaron Basic, great first touch to set himself for the shot. Aaron Basic, did that come off an arm? No, because neither Sydney United attacker protested for it. It's a hopeful long ball. Marita just trying to make himself a nuisance. Do little more than that. Vlastelica just evade danger once and then twice, and then lucks of fortune for De Oliveira, who picks up the loose ball. Classic. Bailey Rule on the run. It's a short option. That's where he heads. Chabot. Druitt did well to get their numbers behind the ball. It's wide for McGinn, but gets in play nicely. De Oliveira. Check his marker, but left the ball behind. Bending cross past the reach of Aaron Basic. It's the second time's the charm for Chabot. Pulling it back. Rule was ready and waiting. Another long shot from Tomilic. Touched by Aaron Basic. Out of play for a Mount Druitt goal kick. Their troubles with injury this season, Sydney United, over the course of the year, they haven't always been able to get all their top tier players on the park at the same time. Missing all the top line names, the likes of Leroy Jennings, Stefan de Robillard and Matt Hatch at the moment, but slow return of certain players does afford them a pretty solid bench this evening. Of course, Patrick going to tell me the headline name. That is wonderful by Kimura. Important header to save the day from Glassick. Side. And tell me, so Richard Darko, Phil Ballard McBride, one of their mid-season pickups. Michael Contesina, the teenager, has been so impressive in his debut season in first grade men's competition. Andrew Kinez, returning youngster, another option as well. Aaron Basic on the wing. And the striker turned provider. Shifting his weight wonderfully. Marco Aaron Basic. Has he caught betwixt and between a shot there, or has he just seriously mishit the cross? Either way, the result is the same. And Mount Druitt looking to get things going quickly. They do really need to up the ante in this one a little bit. Still half an hour of football to be played. Fixture that has been short on goals over the journey. First 10 meetings since 2019. Seen about 3 goals a game. A few short of that. A lot of them tend to happen in the final half hour. Crosses like that can make it possible. 60% of all the goals scored in this matchup since Druitt walked into the top flight of NPL for the first time have come in the final half hour. So if this game is done, you've got another thing coming if the numbers are to be believed. Oh, Wells with a recipient of a firm body check from Trajanowski, and Danny Horsted judge in favour the Sydney United winger, who, if indeed he did get the telling touch from that first half scramble, brings up his 10th of the campaign. More than double the next nearest on the scorer's tally for Sydney United this season. The Sydney United side who are going to turn to their bench here with not one but 2 fresh faces en route. The day done for Carlos de Oliveira and Marco Arambasic. And that brings about a substitution that will strike fear into the hearts of more than a few of a Mount Druitt persuasion, as arriving onto the field, Sydney United goal scorer supreme Patrick Antelmi scored 6 goals against the Mount Druitt Town Raiders in previous fixtures, including 4 in his last 4. Hasn't scored in just over 100 days. May not surprise you to know that that last goal, his 5 for the season, came against Mount Druitt. Is already Anselmi. Chabot turning around, and Patazina, the other player who's come onto the field, distributing the ball to Wells. It's Will Rankin who's able to work the ball back to Tef. He's come on for Alec Trajanowski, who was of course just carded. A few fresh faces in this game. Milicevic receives from Patazina. Milicevic getting the ball into threatening areas. United doing something of real menace to the goal of Dylan Niski is proving a very different task. Protezina. Beautiful back heel from Antelmi, collected with Chabot, and swiftly arriving free kick for Sydney United. Tef, the guilty party. We called back for a little chat here with the referee. Seems as though it is just a warning. We've been able to pick up on the effects mark. There were a few making the point that it is not the first foul of that nature for Tef this evening. A Cup starter in defence for the vast majority of this season, Tef, when he hasn't missed games through injury. Chabot straight into the top of the wall and the top of the head of Thomas Lopez.
Hey, he's concussed, man.
Danny Horsted will eventually draw play dead. That one did not look like it tickled. And that last man in the wall, Shaden Sampao. Straight in the back of the head. That is not where you want to collect them. That Chabot certainly got his boot behind as well. Ben Rollison would not want to see in this game is another player requiring substitution due to injury. If my memory is serving me correctly, he's already used 2 of his available substitution windows for the night, so any additional changes will be his 3rd and final of the evening. That Shaden Sampow has been in the youth ranks of both of these clubs in years gone by, will be able to rejoin us for the first time this evening. Mount Druitt will have to spend a bit of time with 10 men. So forward in hope and time buying as much as anything from Niski. Nipping in nicely was Belcardi. Tried to hold down Protesina, but the teenager kept his feet cleverly. Wells. Protesina. Chabot. Tomilic. Milicevic and Telmi drops it down. There's a flick, and it works out to the advantage of the Mount Druitt defence. And Dylan Niski. Another move in the column of maybe moments for Sydney United. Zip it around the top of the penalty area. And then when the time comes to break the lines, often brings up a far more tricky proposition. Rankin. Shaden Sampow is back on the field as well, so glad to have him return. Jackson Brown. Here is Sampow. Offset to Thomas Lopez, drop down in the middle. Still alive. Lopez covering well was Janjetovic. Marita's goalward bounce shot was blocked by a Sydney United defender en route. That was a nice flash of quality from all involved in yellow. Sampow picked a delightful pass for Lopez. And the block from Glasic stopped a well off target shot anyway, but pressure, tangible pressure nonetheless, added on the Town Rangers to this Sydney United defence. Rankin to Marita. Milicevic, first time bending ball, a beautiful one for Chabot. You see the road runner Mason Wells over his shoulder. Elects to go against him, and Antelmi retained possession through traffic. Kimura darts the eyes up, cuts inside. Yuta Kimura darted to his right, but saw no shortage of red shirts ready and waiting. And tell me. Still plenty of time left for goals in this game. History tells us that they usually are more to follow the first. Prove true this time around. Or will Sydney United do something that they have not in league play previously and do the double in NPL New South Wales against the Town Rangers? Kimura. First time cross. Lopez rose wonderfully. Not a tall player, but he leapt with serious zeal there. Belcardi. Drained by the Sydney United defence. Only as far as Tef. Rankin. Robbed of it by Wells, who is fast, but not that fast. He's running out of real estate there. Massarola. Danilo Montero getting on the march. It is something we do see from the Town Rangers as they look to chase games. Centre backs not afraid to throw themselves forward. Usually Tef is the player who takes the bull by the horns in that regard. This time it's Montero who advances. To be careful of Sydney United's transitional threat in the opposite direction. To be careful of not giving away too many fouls like that, because each one, even though we're not nearly at time-wasting territory just yet, does offer up the opportunity for Sydney United to take more seconds off the clock. Well judged and dealt with by Shaden Sampao. Of course, in case you missed it in the first half, this game running concurrently to a couple of others. I'm sure most of you will be aware, but just in case you weren't, it's not news that Sydney United would want to see. 10 men Sydney Olympic leading Rockdale at Belmore with 15 minutes to play in that one. And a real turn-up for the books brewing in the Illawarra as Wollongong, still early doors, still inside the first half, lead NWS Spirit, the present-day ladder leaders. So it is Sydney United in the ascendancy, and a potential win here just became a lot more important with those scores around the grounds, because if they drop anything now tonight, they will find themselves, I'll double check my maths, but I'm fairly sure they'll find themselves outside the 6. So impetus to search for a second and to keep Mount Druitt at bay. Mount Druitt's side, whose confidence is slowly restoring in this game. Just to put a bit more emphasis into heading forward and threatening Vedran Janjetovic. Lopez. Massarola. It's another backheel flick, this time from Kimura. These two sides have been mirror images of each other in that regard this evening. They will ping it around the top of the penalty area. They won't necessarily find the cut and thrust in the actual guts of it. This ball breaks the way of Sydney United. Protezina into the brick wall that was Shaden Sampao. Lopez winning that one when perhaps he shouldn't have. Belcardi on the move. Sydney United in to make the steal. 18 minutes left to play. Both these sides have been good value for late drama, both in this fixture and across season 2025. This one far from done. And if Sydney United score the second, maybe it will be. And tell me, wonderful work from the Sydney United number 9, and now forward for Mario Chabot, straight into the body of Niski, who comes up with a second stop. Cut back, and eventually Niski is able to gather. A big scare survived by the Town Rangers. And Mario Chabot, who has scored against Mount Druitt in the colours of Blacktown before, and love to have his time again on that one. Might get another chance here. Milicevic has stayed on side. And he'll look to go it alone. Milicevic! Niski again in the way. He has had lots of work to do this season, Dylan Niski, but time and again, he has proved himself more than capable of doing that work. It was delightful from Aidan Milicevic. He's really been a standout this evening. He faced up to the task of Danilo Montero and said, I've got you more than covered. And it took the upper arm of Dylan Niski to deny a very impressive goal. 15 minutes remaining. We've got 3 balls on the field at once. Well, I've seen multi-ball before, but a triple threat match, that is rare. 2 at once, that's, you know, weird, but it happens. 3 is just nigh on unheard of. And in the chaos, Niski's turned it over to the top of the box. And tell me, twisting, turning, and getting a shooting angle where many other strikers probably wouldn't. Wide in the end, but it is testament to the striking quality of Patrick Antelmi that he can find a gap where one shouldn't exist. This is a game that is really opening up now. Don't want it to be a fixture that falls the victim of a commentator's curse, but it's not striking you as one that will end with just a solitary goal in it. The way Mount Druitt are trying to stack the deck in their attack, and the way Sydney United are starting to counter with energy. Protezina. It's a humpback pass, but he's going to be earned a reprieve because Danny Horsted feels that Jared Massarola has fouled the youngster. Been a really underrated midfield pairing this year of Jared Massarola and Caleb Jackson-Brown. Jackson-Brown, of course, more advanced than the number 6 of Massarola, but really put in some great work in that midfield that perhaps goes unheralded owing to their team's ladder position. Protezina with the big switch. And cut out for a United corner. Starting to back these up. We have had some real joy down that flank of Shaden Sampow's. Sydney United's attacking right. Mason Wells. He make that magical left foot work wonders again. If Mount Druitt have gone tonight, you would imagine two would seal it. It's tipped away by Niski. It was a fine thing. This attack rests in the touches of the Morita, which were excellent. And launched over for Kimura, whose resultant touch was not nearly on the same level of quality. And it comes to naught for the Town Rangers, who, even if they are defeated tonight, will still hold plenty of hope in their quest for survival. They've got an absolutely colossal clash coming up next week on the road. The trip to Seymour Shore for a relegation 9-pointer between them and the Sutherland Sharks. win that one and nearly be safe, and Sutherland would be in a world of trouble. Niski, that was tight, but he made it work for Will Rankin. Still waiting that third and final substitution window for the Town Rangers. I have to imagine it will be on the way soon, and maybe multiple players. Rankin fouled. Tomolich into the book. Because he's already on a card from the first half. Tangle with Bilal Belkadi. Chabot who picks up the ticket. So a few of that Sydney United midfield walking the tightrope now. Sampao comes to naught. Dealt with for Sydney United, who, owing to results elsewhere, now need this win. And they want to get some insurance on their one-goal advantage. Milicevic on the march. Over it comes for Mason Wells, who bends it back towards goal. And it's knocked out of play by the Mount Druitt defence, or out of the way by the Mount Druitt defence. Chabot. Cross comfortable for Montero. Chabot. Fontesina. Wells. Wells wants to cut inside and pop one off, but won't get the chance to do so this time. Two goals between them, scored in the final 15 minutes of games this season. And if either can add to that tally, a lot could and would change in the NPL New South Wales table. Sydney United with their played off the bench. Richard Darko has made his way onto the field in place of Mason Wells. Good to see Richard Darko back out on the field consistently for Sydney United after an injury hit pre-season and subsequent regular season as well. Good he can be at his best in New South Wales football. As Rankin puts it forward for Thomas Lopez. And they find the requisite quality, Mount Druitt. This forced Rankin into a retreat. And he couldn't keep the ball in play. That's a tough one to take for the Town Rangers. Having hope that they could start that move with an attack that led to an equaliser or forced Vedran Janjetovic into a save. Now have to set themselves up to defend. Fontesina. Tell me wanted it inside. Instead it went to Darko. Belkadi. The blind pass sold him a little short. And now Sydney United are on the move through Milicevic. He's had a couple of chances to seal this one, and he tried to turn provider for Anselmi, whose touch was wanting at the crucial moment. It is end-to-end football at Popondetta Park. A big clash for your Saturday night in round 28. Riding the challengers, Jared Massarola. Aiden Milicevic joining no shortage of his teammates in the book. It's getting towards the stage of game where even a goal to salvage a point could feel like all three for Mount Druitt. The way this relegation race is going, a point could be all the difference. Sampal's right footer, a really good one. Lopez keeps it alive at the back post. Rising was Tef, gathering Vedran Janjetovic. It was a bit of a weird sequence, to be quite honest. Sydney United defence sagged a little bit. All the yellow shirts peeled off to the back post. There were plenty free. Lopez's cycling of the free kick was quite as threatening and venomous as you would hope in a situation like that. Tesina, wonderfully restored to the youngster by Antelmi. They've got the 2-on-1 on this far side if Chabot is clever enough. Back to Protesina. Now Richard Darko, the substitute, pulls it across the box, and it's knocked back from whence it came by the Town Rangers defence. Classic in, Niski. Very grateful man to watch that one into his arms. Time starting to become the enemy of Ben Rollison's side. Kimura. Forward for Jackson Brown. Now Belcardi. Look at the energy from the midfielder. Gets it back from Lopez. Still going, Belcardi hits the deck, and it's he who gives away the free kick in the end. Sydney United will take that. Looks like the fourth official, Nicholas Farmer, has been prepping his board for something. Whether or not that is a substitution remains to be seen. Oh, that is a nasty one from Bilal Belcardi. He came in at a million miles an hour and cut across Mario Chabot. I don't think he can have too many complaints about an entry into the referee's book for that one. He is a player who is fully committed, Bilal Belcardi, to everything that he does, every challenge that he makes, and that one was no exception. Caught a real bit of the ankle of Mario Chabot. It's going to add a bit of extra potential injury time to this game. And we'll open up the opportunity for this third and final Mount Druitt substitution window that we have been speculating on. It's a handful of fresh faces to the first grade lineup. Josh Mifsud coming on alongside Kual Mien. Another, stop me if you've heard this before, mid-season signing from South Australia. So we played a handful of games in their 20 side. Oh, Richard Darko, wonderful control! Oh, cleared off the line by Rankin. How close was that? Sent back in, now tell me lurking, and Rankin again with the clearing header. So close to the sealer from Darko. Protesina. Back to Darko. And Rankin with body in the way once more. God, that was close. Darko nipping in and giving away the foul. The free kick rather, committing the foul. Wonderfully launched that one was by Anthony Tomlich. Richard Darko did everything right. It would have been the first goal in quite some time for him. Rankin at his agile best saving the day for the Town Rangers. Hasn't scored Richard Darko since the Australia Cup last year. So over a year since his last goal for Spirit against the Glenorchy Knights. Lopez. Sold it all to Mario Chabot, and knew he couldn't go in too swiftly because he is, of course, on that card. It's a shallow free kick from Thomas Lopez. Cleared only as far as Jared Massarola. Decent run this from the Mount Druitt midfielder. Massarola. Shot takes a deflection. Lopez drills it in. Whisked away by Michael Glassick. It is getting tense and tight here at Popondetta Park. Every touch so important. The foot race on between Montero and Anselmi. Great hold-up play by Sydney United's number 9. Wonderful work. A free kick won as just 4 minutes are added onto this one. Sydney United within touching distance of an all-important 3 points at Popondetta Park. Darko for Tezina. Do they want to take this one into the corner, Sydney United? They'll take it into the corner, but they will win one. Yeah. Messy manoeuvre that saw Mason Wells work it over the line in the first half. Feels a long way from now, but it remains the only potentially decisive goal of this Saturday night encounter, which will ensure that Sydney United are still in control of their finals fate. Is there a stoppage time push coming though from the Town Rangers? Massarola on the march. Morita. It's missed by Mien. Kimura will pick up the pieces at the back post. Mien. Montero. High ball. Really nicely done by Vedran Janjetovic. Just a couple of minutes now. Standing between Sydney United and back-to-back wins. Can't be understated what a massive feat that would be. They've played 3 games in the space of 6 days. 1 in midweek against Blacktown, and Darko could make it a sure thing. Chabot! Sydney United are going back-to-back. 2 goals, 3 points. Mario Chabot sealing the deal. And their finals fate will remain in their own hands for another week. It's tough to take for Mount Druitt, but Sydney United will be absolutely delighted. They'll head home with the 3 points in their pocket. And Richard Darko put that one on a platter for Mario Chabot. And that caps off a wonderful week, a confidence-building week for this club. A brilliant crowd, a brilliant performance in defeat against Sydney FC in the Australia Cup last Sunday. Massive winners in a 5v6 game against Blacktown on Wednesday. And having gone winless in 7 in the league prior to that one, now they have won back-to-back games looking best placed to take that last position in the top 6 that has looked at various points so precarious. Kimura shifts it wide. Get away. Not long now for Sydney United. They can just about reach out and taste back-to-back wins for the first time in quite some time. Scything challenge, another free kick coming for the visitors. It's been over 2 months since they last won back-to-back games in this competition. And they've had to wait a while, but they have done it again at the perfect time. Sydney United with 2 goals against Mount Druitt to seal 2 wins on the trot. Coming off a 4-day break. They got 1 goal either side of the half. The first one wasn't pretty. They took it, they ran with it. And Richard Darko, in the dying embers, set up Mario Chabot to seal it. And ensure that Sydney United's finals destiny is firmly in their own hands with 2 rounds of football left to play. Mount Druitt, well, it's a bit of a shine that comes off the Rollison Revolution here at Popondetta Park, but they still have plenty of opportunity to save themselves from automatic relegation from a Pro-Rel playoff. All eyes to that relegation scrap with the Sutherland Sharks next week. But it is Sydney United who will head home the happiest. 3 points coming home to Adenza Park. The perfect tonic for what looks at this juncture to be positive results for Wollongong and Sydney Olympic elsewhere. And with 2 rounds to play, United are looking odds on to return to the finals picture for the second time in as many seasons. They had to do it the hard way tonight, but they did it, and that is what matters. We sign off from Popondetta Park, the full-time score. Mount Druitt 0, Sydney United 2.